and we four do constitute a quorum, so I'll call this meeting to order. I'll make a motion to adopt the agenda. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote?
Councilmember Boone's indicated she's an aye.
The vote is closed.
4 yeas, 0 nays. The agenda is adopted. I'll now make a motion to approve the minutes of the prior meeting. Is there a second? Second by Vice Chair Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
4 yeas, 0 nays. Minutes of the prior meeting are approved. We will move on to public comment. First up is hold just 1 second. We're going to handle one legislative item first, since it's an appointment that was held previously. It's 23C 5103. Ms. Lindo, if you read that in.
Yes, Mr. Chair. This is a communication from Council President Doug Shipman appointing Ms. Daphne Jackson to serve as a member of the NREM Review Board for the City of Atlanta. This appointment is for a term of 3 years.
Thank you, Ms. Jackson. You'd please approach the podium and tell us a little bit about yourself and your willingness to serve.
All right, good afternoon. My name is Daphne Bryson Jackson. I am a native Atlantan. I live in District 9, Councilman Hillis. I am at 1 Canty Place in Cross Creek condominiums. Have been in Atlanta really all my life, minus 5 years, and have had a government affairs lobbying firm here in the city for a little over 30 years. So I'm a small business owner here and raised my family here. And there's nothing I love more than this city and want to see it continue to thrive and grow. So I'm excited to be here and excited to serve.
All right, thank you, Ms. Jackson. Thank you for your enthusiasm and your willingness to serve. I'll make a motion to approve this appointment. Is there a second?
Second, Boone.
Second by Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
Waits is an aye.
The vote is open.
For the record, we have been joined by Councilmember Waits.
The vote is closed.
5 yeas, 0 nays. That item is approved. Ms. Jackson, this will go through to the Committee on Council, but you will not need to reappear. Once that goes through that committee and on to the full council after approval, the municipal clerk will be in contact with you for further instructions. Thank you. With that item handled, we will go to public comment. First, okay, we'll have someone come out and retrieve that. Deborah Kahn. You have 3 minutes.
Hello. What I wanted to talk a little bit about is the whole signature question. I was out collecting signatures 7 days a week since the middle of June, and these were less than optimum conditions to collect signatures. It would be 89, 90 degrees. People would be running on the belt line, sweating, or dragging their dog or their children or whatever, and they would sign. They're handed a clipboard, and I can guarantee you a lot of those signatures are not going to be as neat as you would see from your DMV or however you're going to compare the signatures. And I would like you to be mindful of that when this is being looked at. I have one story. There was an elderly man who stopped me on Edgewood Avenue who hadn't signed yet. It was just a few weeks ago, right after the whole signature thing blew up in the news, and he wanted to sign, and he was very feeble. His hand was shaking. He must have had Parkinson's or something, and I handed him the clipboard, and it took him a long time to fill it out and sign, and then he handed it back to me, and he said, "Look at my signature. It won't look anything like anything I've signed before." And I just know they're going to throw it out, and that just stinks. And what I told him was, I said, if I have an opportunity to share this with anyone, I will. And I just think you all really need to be mindful of that when this is being looked at. And the best possible solution is just put it on the ballot. We have the signatures. We know that we have enough people, and the people of this city want this to be voted on. Thank you for your time.
Next is Monica Johnson. And we have also been joined by Councilmember Antonio Lewis.
All right, hello. It's great Councilman Lewis is here because I'm in his district and I was trying to leave a note for him. I think when we talk about the issue of public safety, many of these things have been said again and again and again, but we can't pretend like we're going to address public safety if we have a system in which Atlantans that have lived in my neighborhood of Pittsburgh and the Black and poor neighborhoods of this city are left behind, are left to wonder if after 500K houses are built in our neighborhood, if we're going to be pushed out, are left to wonder if we're able to get a job that can pay living wages in order to afford the rising rents. And so when we have this issue of this kangaroo court situation of preventing people from having a democratic say in the process of building at this point, $100 million project of Cop City, then we are not worried about public safety. We're worried about being in the pockets of whichever donor. We're worrying about not shaking the table and not getting in the way of re-election, of donations, of keeping the boat stable. And so if we want change, we can't keep the boat stable. We can't keep doing the same thing that we keep doing. We can't keep leaving people that have to move out to South Fulton, to wherever else, to the metro area, and keep decreasing the amount of Black people and poor people that can live in this city. We're becoming less and less of a Black city, of a city supposedly too busy to hate. It seems like most of what we're doing is hating. Most of what we're doing is hating on the ability of people to decide what their city looks like, what their money goes to, and what kind of world they want to live in. Thousands and thousands of people at this point have said they don't want Cop City, and we're still fighting over whether it will even go to the ballot. So I think if people here want to pretend or want to at least put forward some veneer of democracy, then we should at the very least allow this to go to the ballot. Beyond all the issues, most of the people on this board are Democrats, and beyond all the issues of voter disenfranchisement that we talk about supposedly when we want to get elected, we're not even worried about that apparently. But if that doesn't prevent Cop City from not winning the referendum system, the referendum initiative, then you guys should take that as the will of the people. So we believe, all of us that have been struggling and getting signatures and organizing, we believe that the will of the people is not to continue to spend all of our money on death dealing. We want to create a system that brings life to people, that worries about whether or not we have mental health resources, whether or not we have food and housing. And we are sorely, incredibly derelict in that in many parts of the city. And so if we want to talk about public safety and what prevents crime, it's having what you need. So you guys need to do something to that effect. Thank you.
Next is Lorraine Fontana. Lorraine Fontana.
Sorry, I didn't hear my name clearly. I live in District 2. I know Amir Farouqi's not on the committee, but I'm hoping that other people here who are going to be in the regular city council meeting will hear what people are saying. I ditto what the two previous sisters said. The Atlanta Grandmothers for Peace, which I'm a member, endorsed the referendum petition idea and supported the press conference today and the delivery of those petitions. Well, Grandmothers for Peace, to us, peace is not just the absence of war, but the presence of justice. And we feel like an injustice is being done pretty consistently by city council members who will not speak out against the outrageous injustices and roadblocks all along the way that have been created that you all can uncreate. So we are asking you not to block any longer the process for getting the people, letting the people decide on putting this initiative on the referendum on the ballot. You can do that. You can do that. You can say, we want this, the City Council of Atlanta wants this on the ballot because we want to hear from our constituents. If you weren't afraid to hear from your constituents, you'd be glad to do that, to prove once and all that more people want this police training academy we call Cop City to exist. We believe firmly, from 112,000 signatures strong and more, that obviously we don't want it. I also want to say I'm really disappointed in my own rep and a lot of other people on the council for not speaking out in clear terms about the pretty outrageous charges all along that have been leveled against Stop Cop City activists. The newest one, of course, RICO charges. Racketeering? You all need to be speaking out about that, even though it's not the city that's doing that, it's the state that's doing that. You all need to be speaking out about it. Domestic terrorism? It's pretty outrageous. The bail fund people being accused of charities fraud and money laundering. These are the kind of tactics, believe me, that everybody sees as repressive governments use these kind of tactics to overcharge, to charge people they don't want to continue to speak out. They use, thank you.
Next is Lauren Neef. Lauren Neef. No Lauren Neef. Temperance Blake? Sorry if I mispronounced your name.
No, that's okay. Yeah, it's like, are you good? Whenever you're ready. Okay, cool, whenever I'm ready. No, I just wanted to get up here real quick and say thank you so much for doing this. This has been like so fun. I've just like really loved being like involved in like this like citywide decision. It's like really cool. Like, I don't know, the whole Cop City thing is like, I don't know what to think about it. Like, I love the forests, whatever. I don't know, whatever. But I have really, really enjoyed getting involved and going out and like talking to people about like what we all, want for the city. Like, that's so cool. I feel like that's what makes Atlanta so awesome. Like, right? Like, Atlanta is literally so cool for that. Like, I feel like every other city is like so jealous of us because like we're like so involved and like we're all like working together to figure out what's like we're doing with this. Like, that's so awesome. And that's because of y'all, like, right? Like, we're literally like, we're making it happen. That's like so cool. Like, I don't know, you know, like, yeah, like, look at this. Look at that. Literally the whole city is like doing this together. That's like so sweet. And y'all are really cool for that. So that's just like, I don't know, that's really something to be proud of. And I've had a really great time being a part of this movement. And I hope you have too. That's it. Okay, yield.
Next is Maurice Haskin.
Hey, I'm not really sure what to say. I don't like Cop City. I mean, I think it's weird that we have this amount of money that we're willing to throw at cops in a city known for its corrupt cops. And I'm out here struggling to pay rent, you know? I mean, food and just, oh, I'm sorry, just public speaking. There's a lot of folks here. All right, I'm good. I just don't understand why people I voted for in the city I pay taxes for isn't concerned about me, you know? I come out here every day, I work every day, I struggle. I'm out here literally fighting to survive every day of my life. And I feel like the people who are here to protect me, they aren't concerned about me. They don't care what happens to me. And I don't know how to feel about that, you know? Like, I'm sorry, I just, fucking, all right. Why don't y'all care? Why aren't I important? Why doesn't no one give a shit? Like, like, I'm sorry, I'm shaking a bit because I'm real nervous, but like, this is fucking crazy to me. Like, I do everything I'm supposed to. I follow the rules. I vote when I'm supposed to vote. I pay all my taxes. But instead of helping, I don't know, a fucking school or something, teaching me something I need to know, how to pay taxes, you know, how to do a mortgage, something like that. Instead, we're throwing money at police that doesn't help me. I've never felt helped by the police in my entire life. I don't know how to describe it or how to like properly express how frustrating this is, how crazy this is. The fact that it had to come this far. I remember when the big vote happened, the whole city came out and they expressed how much they don't want this. Everyone expressed how much they didn't want this, but still it's going through. The fact that it came this far, the fact that we need over 100,000 votes, what's the point? I mean, will that make a difference? Will anyone care after that? Will something change? Will I just still feel ignored? Will my voice ever actually matter? And fucking time. All right, thanks.
Next is Chase McGrath. Okay, I'm only going to call names one time. We have to stop applauding because that's interrupting people from hearing their name being called. Chase McGrath. Shabnam Bashiri.
Hello, my name is Shabnam Bashiri. I was born and raised here in Atlanta. I live in District 4 currently, though I just bought my first home in District 2. I spent pretty much the entire summer canvassing on top of working 2 bar jobs so that I could afford to buy a house and secure housing before I get priced out of the city like most other people have. I have no idea how many signatures I collected, but I'm pretty sure it's well over 1,000. I canvassed in every single district in the city, in every quadrant, everywhere from Campbellton Road to Lenox Road, South Atlanta to Northside Drive, everywhere in between. I talked to people at bars, concerts, community meetings, open mic nights, shopping centers, gas stations, festivals, school pickup lines, pretty much everywhere where there were people. I even got a few signatures from people fishing in the Adams Park Lake. At its peak, I was averaging 20,000 steps a day in 100+ degree heat. And I am one of thousands of people that were doing the same thing to get these signatures. The experience, it was hot, it was exhausting, but it confirmed what we all already knew. And we hope that maybe you will now see, which is that the people of Atlanta do not want Cop City. The vast majority of the people that I talked to don't want Cop City to be built at all. I had tens of thousands of conversations. Even the people who do want Cop City believe that it should be put to a vote. So I'm here today on behalf of all of those people who stopped to talk to me in the heat, who sat there and meticulously put their names, their addresses, their phone numbers, and their birth dates on a piece of paper, not having complete faith in what you guys would do with that information because they wanted to show that they want this to be put to a vote. So I'm asking you to put it on the ballot, to let the people of Atlanta decide. Thank you.
Next is Jordan Strife, or Strife, Jordan Strife. Amy Castanel.
Hello, my name is Amy Castanel. I'm a resident of West End neighborhood, District 4. I also work for an organization called Working Families Power. Right now, we are occupying the clerk's office with the understanding that the council has the power to put this on the ballot today. The council cannot continue to hide behind this process. The mayor cannot continue to run the process, and the people we elected must be accountable to the 116,000 plus Atlantans who have signed this petition. We talked to 116,000 people all across the city. Every single one of those signatures on those papers is a person who is a resident of the city of Atlanta who is saying that they want this to be put to a vote. It seems to me that it's pretty clear, like, let the people decide. Thank you.
Faye's DJ Muniz. DJ Muniz. Jonathan Mann. And we've also been joined by Councilmember Michael Julian Bond.
First of all, let me thank you for your service. I come here with respect and gratitude for the work that you're doing, both as an institution and as individuals, and I offer these comments with respect and gratitude. And they're primarily about two numbers. The first number is 57. 57 bullets that were found in the body of a protester who was shot in January. That young person's death seems to be overlooked, but to me, it has created a stench which hangs over this entire enterprise, and it fills this room. 57 bullets. The post-mortem, according to published accounts, suggests that their hands were raised when they were shot. Why do I bring that up here? Because my first request to you is to throw the city's authority, the council's political heft, and your own moral authority as elected officials, as public servants, into demands that there be a speedy and transparent inquiry into what happened. There has been great energy devoted by law enforcement into arresting people accused of being racketeers and terrorists. I'm impressed by the passion that law enforcement is bringing to those cases. I'm asking you as our representatives to demand, suggest there be some equal passion to figuring out how a young protester ended up having their body riddled with 57 bullets in the name of a law enforcement training facility. Because that inquiry is supposed to happen, but where it is, I don't know. So that's my first request. And the second request is about a second number, 115 or 16,000. The people who signed those petitions and our movement in presenting those petitions to you is not trying to force you to elect someone or to enact something. We're not trying to force anything on the City of Atlanta. We're trying to get you to engage in a democratic exercise of simply putting a question that's of manifest public interest to the public. What could be easier and more appropriate for a city that prides itself on its struggle for democracy, true democracy, than to say, people want this, let's ask them. You are good people, elected to do good things for this good city. You could do that very easily. You don't have to go through the tortuous process of counting all of the votes, all of the petition signatures. You can just do it. So I'm just going to ask you to keep those two numbers in mind and just be the public servants you were elected to be. Do the right thing. Thank you.
Catherine Hansen.
Hi, my name is Catherine Hansen. I've lived in Virginia Highlands for 43 years, and I just can't believe I'm here. I can't believe that we have to fight so hard to have something like this on the ballot. And as my predecessor stated, just do the right thing, put it on the ballot so the city can, the people of the city can decide. And that way it makes you look better. Thank you.
Shannon Guerrero. Shannon Guerrero. Amanda Ming.
Good afternoon. I'm a resident of District 6, and I work at Georgia Tech. And I'm here because I think we're at a pivotal moment where we have to be good stewards of both our land and our environment, as well as our democracy. I'm here to ask that you verify the signatures now. Verify the petition signatures now, please.
Matthew Nursery.
Thank you. My name is Matthew Nursey, and I live in District 5. I'm here with the People's Coalition to Stop Cop City, and as a member of the Atlanta Democratic Socialists of America. And as a Democratic Socialist, I believe in democracy. I believe in democracy at the ballot box. I believe in democracy at in your workplace. I believe in democracy certainly at City Hall. We are here today with almost 120,000 signatures that were collected in some of the most extreme conditions, oppressive heat, and deadly humidity. In all kinds of weather, we pulled together and we achieved what most thought would be impossible. We have clearly proven without a shadow of a doubt that at the very least, at the bare minimum, this deserves to be put on the ballot for the voters to decide either way. At a time where democracy is in question and people's faith in the electoral system is at an all-time low, this is a chance to do right by the constituents who make up this city. As has been said, we cannot condemn others for being a threat to democracy while simultaneously voting 11-4 to ignore the will of the people. And I see some of my comrades from the labor movement here as well. Labor, I can assure you, is not on the side of building this facility. The bottom line is that we do not want a small selection of very wealthy corporations to dictate the way our council votes or the way our communities are run and developed. The voters should decide, and I assure you we will be ready in 2025 and beyond. Please accept and verify these signatures, please, and thank you.
Shara Bates.
So I'm an activist, community advocate. Many of y'all know me. You've seen me out here for years. Y'all know I not only work for the people and the disenfranchised, but mostly for the youth. I was out here very heavily in 2020. I actually remember some of y'all being in the streets with me, and we thought that you were gonna be taking different stances in your seats, but you didn't, and it seems like it was a waste of a vote. But let's be honest here. Cop City was a direct reply to the defund the police movement, which clearly none of y'all understand or understood, because many of y'all were out there with us, ran for city council saying that you were for the people, but now you're against the people, and it's such a disappointment, to say it the least. I don't understand how the same administration and council that denounced and accused Kemp, Trump, and so many others of racist voter tactics and practices can stand by and support these same intimidation, over-excessive tactics of voter suppression, and quite frankly, criminalization of people that are literally fighting for the people. It's activists that can't even walk in airports without being pulled to the side by Homeland Security because of the charges that y'all supported against them for them just fighting for their people. And yet y'all want to give all of this taxpayers' money to the same agencies. When Tortuguita was killed, it was 3 different law enforcement agencies out there, shot 57 times with his hands up. And not only do we not have any accountability, but somehow 3 agencies could not come up with footage. 3 agencies. And I know Atlanta is required, because I was a part of the reason why they're required to wear body cams, but we still don't have footage. How can we expect accountability from these same people? This is the same people you want to give all of your constituents' tax dollars to? How is it not illegal to do a lease to a private company for services that will be provided for and paid for by the public? But you don't believe our opinion should have a voice. Well, if we don't deserve a voice, then let the police foundation pay for it. Let the Atlanta police pay for it themselves. We got to pay them to work and pay them after they kill us and pay the families that they kill. It has to be. Y'all are refusing to allow due process without pushing back against us and making the process harder. Like y'all making it harder for us when we're supposed to be the people that you're listening to. But our voice, at the end of the day, does your 116 constituents' opinions matter or not? If they matter, why are y'all making the process hard? Why are y'all pushing back after a judge said that it was unconstitutional?
Reverend Darcy Jarrett.
Good afternoon, y'all. I'm having deja vu. We've been here before. My name is Darcy Jarrett. I am a pastor in District 1, Park Avenue Baptist Church. I'm also a member of the Faith Coalition to Stop Cop City, because we know that this is a moral issue. We know this. We know that y'all could have called for the referendum already. You could have. You could have. So what will move you? We did this for hours and hours before. Let me turn to the book of Samuel and read a little bit. My heart rejoices in the Lord. My strength rises up in the Lord, because I rejoice in your deliverance. No one is holy like the Lord. No, no one except you. There is no rock like our God. Don't go on talking so proudly, spouting arrogance from your mouth, because the Lord your God, who knows and God weighs every act. The bows of the mighty warriors are shattered, but those who are stumbling now dress themselves in power. Y'all are witnessing this. Those who were filled full now sell themselves for bread. Who's filled full right now? But the ones who were starving are now fat from food. The woman who was barren has birthed 7 children. The mother of many sons has lost them all. The Lord, God, brings death and gives life, takes down to the grave and raises up. God makes poor and gives wealth, brings low and lifts up high. God raises the poor from the dust, lifts up the needy. God sits them with officials, seated at the seat of honor. Let me just say what this text is saying is those who are in power need to be the most righteous. And in fact, what we're seeing when power is given, are you standing up for the poor? Are you standing up for the one who is oppressed? Are you standing with the righteous? Because God is always standing with the righteous. God is always calling to the outsider. Are you calling to the outsider? Is this project calling to the outsider? Or is this project a part of a power system that is going to come down? Cop City will never be built. Do you want to be a part of it? The power that is coming down? Or do you want to rise up with the people? With the people who are saying their will? Put it on the referendum.
Reverend Kiana Jones.
So here we go again. Y'all know my name, Reverend Kiana Jones, and while I no longer live in the city of Atlanta, I am an associate minister at Park Avenue Baptist Church that lies within District 1. What we've seen is not only harassment from this administration and police during the March Week of Action, as we were a hub for spiritual grounding and support of the movement to stop Cop City. But we saw that same harassment when we became one of the headquarters for this ballot referendum petition. And what I want you all to understand is what you already know. You know that intimidation doesn't work, right? Intimidation is really not going to stop this movement from moving, because we keep moving despite what it is. We carry on. We carry on despite the fact that those people, you all who have been elected to represent the people who come and speak to you week after week and month after month and ask you to hear their voices, to work at the behest of their voices. I elected you to be my hands and feet and ears and eyes within this council chambers. But how does that really work when you're not doing the thing that I'm asking you to do? And it's not one of your constituents asking you. It is a majority of your constituents asking you. If you said, all right, the vote was already taken, there's nothing that we can do with this contract, we can't cancel this lease, the people still said, you know what? How about let us decide? But instead, you stood behind while Mayor Dickens got his punk ass up there talking about it's unconstitutional for us to have a ballot referendum. The Georgia State Constitution provides for this ballot referendum. And yes, you could say, as a public safety committee, we know that this is a project that we believe it falls within the jurisdiction of public safety, and we think, Mayor and full council, that we should go ahead and put this on a ballot. That would be the very best thing that you could do for yourselves now. But what I want you to understand is that at this point, it don't matter what you do. Whether you say yes, put it on the ballot, or no, don't put it on the ballot. Not one of you sitting up here will be in that seat again come next election. And you can sit and think that these people don't have the power to do it. The smirk tells me that you calling my bluff, and I'm not the one to call my bluff, because I'm going to show up every time. The same way that I show up here. The same way that I show up here and call you ass clowns, I'm going to be in them streets to make sure that you don't sit here again. Byron Amos, Andrea Boone. I skip you, Antonio, because you know you and I got a thing. Michael Julian Bond, Keisha Shawn Waits, you and I got a thing. But I need y'all to know, we ain't playing.
Giovanni Serrano.
Good afternoon. My name is Giovanni Serrano, community organizer with the Georgia Wiglar Action Network, and we are here to demand direct democracy to take place. We should have to do this. We shouldn't have to do this in the first place. Being an elected official should be an honorable job, but y'all made a life out of this body. City Council listens to the people, and when y'all trying to silence 160,000 people to decide, it shows us that we need to take our power back. People power makes this possible, and we will continue to fight because Cop City will never be built. We won't allow a training to militarize the police from becoming a reality. We won't allow a new school of the Americas to be built. We won't allow the killing of community members. Down with your criminalization, down with immigration. The people have decided that Cop City will never be built, and we will continue fighting for. It's just so funny that I had to be here continuously. First, when you guys approved the lease for HCDC, and we told you guys that was not a solution. You guys didn't listen. So you guys, all of you guys have blood in your hands for all the community members that have died in HCDC. You didn't listen to the people. You listened to corporations, to corrupt sheriffs that don't care, don't give a cent about the people's lives. So we're here because we won't let Cop City be built.
Been joined by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari. Next is Zoila Randa.
Hello, my name is Zoila Randa. I live in Cherokee County, and the cops from Cherokee County will never come here to Atlanta to train because Cop City will never be built. It's really awkward for me to be in front of you right now telling like people that are older than me, adults, like probably millennials too, like that you're doing a really bad job. It's really like, why are you here? Was it at one point like you had to have cared about Atlanta, but by voting and continuing to make Cop City happen, like it shows that you don't care. And that's really embarrassing. I don't know how y'all can just be here. Are you guys really listening, or are you just like looking at me or looking away? Like, I don't know. Let's see. Atlanta has been a place that I have visited and moved here when I was like in '97. The Olympics brought a lot of people to the city, and it was a place where my parents could find refuge and keep us out of gangs in LA. And it was that. We lived in Roswell and later in Cherokee County, and it has been a struggle because I come from immigrant parents, and it's been a whole, I've seen many different ways the government works as they like made themselves in Georgia. So just the people I've met, the people that have influenced me, who have been there for me, they all matter, every person, and I can't imagine anything happening to them, and especially people who are vulnerable, like people who are undocumented or have been in prison, or like people that don't have a home. Everyone has like been an influence to me, and they matter, and I care about them, and we're all gonna keep showing up and wanting to know why y'all aren't doing what the people of Atlanta are telling you to do. That's why you're here. Please don't make me come back. This is really awkward. Just let the people decide now. Let us put it on the ballot. Thank you.
Catherine Matta. Looks like M-A-D-D-A, Catherine Matta.
I know, girl. I'm unsurprised that this administration has reversed its stance on the referendum process, withdrawing their initial support once the success of this ballot initiative became all too real. God forbid, with 61 protesters against police brutality facing RICO charges, a 26-year-old dead from 57 police bullets, and 25 incarcerated people dead from our jail conditions in a year's time, including a homeless man with schizophrenia who was eaten alive by bed bugs at Rice Street, and a 19-year-old woman who was found dead in AC/DC after being held on a misdemeanor bench warrant. God forbid the city of Atlanta keep it real. Perhaps if Andre Dickens hadn't morphed from being the chair of the committee to shut down AC/DC into the mayor of Gotham, and not decided to lease AC/DC to the Fulton County executioner, Sheriff Labatt, perhaps Noni would still be alive today instead of spending her last birthday in her death chamber. We told you when you voted to keep AC/DC open, people would die. We told you when you voted in favor of the Cop City lease, and then in favor of the Cop City funding, that people would die. At this point, the city's platform for public safety seems to be founded on death and any direct pathway to it. Given that, it makes sense that those of us who call for life would sound like outside agitators to you, even though we live here together.
Oscar Trevine. Oscar Trevino. Evan Matthews. Evan Matthews. Right? Evan Matthews?
I'm going to dedicate the last minute of my comment for the little part of you that knows what you're doing is wrong, for the little part in your soul that knows that your actions today have consequences for millions of people around you. You are public servants not doing the will of the public. You are people in a community not pulling your weight. Byron Amos, a man who could not look at me. I got 2 minutes. Thank you for finally paying attention to the people around you, for not being selfish. There will be a time tonight when you are off your phone and you are off your computer and you're going to sleep. And that same part of you that just spoke is going to talk to you again. And it is either going to condemn you for your lack of action today, or it is going to finally rejoice that you have made the right decision, that you have done the will of the people, that you have been a community member who has been outstanding. Or it is going to cry and scream, knowing that you let down yourself, your family, your community, your society, that you have not done the will of the people, that you have not done your best, that your lack of empathy has hurt millions of people, gotten millions of people hurt. How many times will you have to do this? Thank you.
Ryan McCall.
Members of the Atlanta City Council who respected this event enough to attend these public comments. I am a biochemist and ecological philosopher, and it is to that end I came here today to make my voice heard. Wilani Forest is indispensable to Atlanta's delicate climate equilibrium. The scientific consensus on this is unequivocal, and the situation is pressing. We are well aware that this forest plays a pivotal role in shielding us from the scorching temperatures that have plagued us throughout the year. We understand its significant contribution to managing stormwater runoff and preserving our water ecology. Furthermore, we recognize its invaluable role in mitigating our city's air pollution. On a broader scale, the global institutions tasked with addressing the impending crisis of climate change and biodiversity collapse have repeatedly fallen short. This issue extends far beyond the purview of you all as the Atlanta City Council. However, as one of your constituents, I implore you to not exacerbate an already blazing inferno. It should not require 57 bullets and the submission of nearly 117,000 petitions to even earn the right to make the request that we do not worsen our situation, to prevent Atlanta from suffering a fate in the very near future akin to that of Phoenix or Miami, cities currently grappling with the consequences of global inaction. The will of the people on this is resolute. We seek the right to preserve our environment, to be safe in our homes, and more importantly, we seek the right to even be allowed to put it to a vote. I ask that you honor this collective desire and act in the best interest of our beloved city. Thank you.
Chris Brown.
I also have time from the following person that signed up to speak, Mr. Robinson.
Say that again.
So I also have donated time from the following speaker after me as well.
We do not donate time in the Public Safety Committee, so you have your 3 minutes.
Sure. So I came here to carry the word of the people who continuously call and ask about public safety and public safety issues and concerns. Because I've been an active leader, and I don't call myself a leader, I just call myself a servant, but those who tend to continue to look to me as a leader for me to speak up, continue to call. And there's some things that you just can't hold, especially when you come down and you're disrespected. I've spoke to many people on this council for the last 18 years, and I've never been disrespected how I have been today when just trying to carry the will of the people. And when we come here, because we create good policy, and we create boards and commissions to do the work, to supplement the work that's done in these committees and in this chamber, we expect for certain things to happen, and it's often defined within that piece of legislation. We've seen great work get done by the start of the Buckhead Public Safety Committee that was done. I attended those meetings. We had great work in legislation that was dug out of the coffers from a previous administration, and that was sponsored and championed by an incoming council member. Well, I'm here because it's now set to be sunset, and as I can't even say former co-chair. I don't know what it is, but as the body of the people who elected myself as the co-chair of the Public Safety Commission, not only to get a cease and desist of communication about that commission, to not be notified when meetings are happening, or also be responsible for making sure that the chair of that commission, when resigning because of some of the things that's happening within the commission, to come back because we got a plan. We all gonna get this together, we're gonna work together. I'm looking for leadership that's accountable, that's gonna bring the people together. And no matter where it sits, whether it's in this room or on this council and this administration, I can't be silent anymore because there's a lot of BS going on. And sometimes you gotta speak on it. But I'm looking for someone to champion this Public Safety Commission. It's a great body. It actually complemented the work that we was doing in the Atlanta Planning Advisory Board. We was engaging people coming up with solutions. We was conferring with other agencies within the city of Atlanta, including the county and other agencies who don't even do citizen engagement to a manner that we do here in the city of Atlanta. So I'm just coming here since Ms. Waits has made a decision to sunset the commission. I come to ask that you reconsider. I'm looking for people that's going to be able to bring people together, and this is for the first time we have all the people that were sitting around that we needed to make recommendations to some of the solutions, because kids are dying every day, man. I can't do the work that I do because, again, I'm still getting and doing some of you all's job in partnership, but I would like to hear. I would like to hear from, if you would, any one of the council members, President, Chairman Hillis, if you would take consider of leading, or any of the other council members take the wheel of leading us to solutions that's going to help decrease and mitigate the crime that's going on. The public safety.
Go ahead and finish up. Your time's expired, please. Mr. Brown.
I'll reach out to you directly, brother. And anybody else on here that's willing to be a leader up here.
DeJuan Robinson.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to speak to that.
You were mentioned by name, so Councilmember Waits, go ahead.
Just for the record, I want to be clear about why the Public Safety Commission was sunset. There were a number of challenges with respect to quorum. The original legislation indicated that we would be in place for an 18-month period of time. However, we had a number of chairs that decided to step down and a number of members who indicated they were not able to continue in service. As many of you are aware, the Buckhead Safety Coalition, I think they met for a period of 4 months, which was even shorter. So for the most part, the committee decided to sunset because the individuals that were serving on that committee were no longer able to continue to serve. However, any member of this body has the capacity to continue that commission, which I am hopeful someone would do so. So I just wanted to be clear that that was not my decision. That was actually in the legislation and detailed in the policy when it was initiated. Thank you, Mr. Chairman.
DeJuan Robinson. Griffin Price.
Raise your hand if you took MARTA this morning. Raise your hand if you've been in a bike lane this week. If you've been in a park this month. If you woke up in your house this morning, in your own bed. Keep your hand up if that experience would be improved by an armed police officer. If that experience would be improved by flashbangs, by explosives, by threats, by violence, by intimidation. Do any of you see any hands up? You seem to think that the process that this is supposed to go through is putting on us, is saying why we don't need this, or putting it to the people to have their voices heard. Quite the opposite. The whole process is supposed to revolve around you saying why we do need Cop City. And as far as I can tell, there is not one part of Atlanta that would be improved by violence, by militantism, by the waste of public dollars, by the destruction of its trees and of its people. It has become very clear to me through your silence, through your obfuscation, through your bureaucracy, your excuses, your insistence of decorum at every turn, rules which we have tried to abide by, that there is a deep-seated dishonesty that runs through this body. a dishonesty and a fear of the people you were put in those chairs to be elected. People who you have a duty and a right to serve, to give answers to. You have not given us answers. You have not given us faith or proof or honesty. I will say that I know that there are some of you who are on our team. I do want to say thank you to Councilmember Bakhtiari, who is the only person on this board who has spoken to us without a timer behind us or 3 layers of desks in between them. Lastly, I do want to say that you need to sit with your intentions of being on this board to begin with. If you had no intention of representing your constituents, I need you to think about why you're in that chair right now. You can call me. You can listen to your voicemails, or you can just go home in your bed and not being afraid that everything you own is going to be swept away by a police officer. But I want you to know there are people in this city who do not have that gift, and that you are betraying them by ignoring them, by spending so much money to police them, to assault them, to say your voice doesn't matter, your existence doesn't matter, and we do not see you as people. Thank you.
Alexandra Audate.
Oh, this is a bright light. Hello, everybody. This is my first time speaking here, but it's not my first time coming. I relocated to Atlanta from Florida 2.5 years ago. I was an organizer in Florida, and I thought being from Florida, I had seen all flavors of political clowns. So I thought nothing here could impress me, but congratulations to you all. So as I was told to speak today, I asked myself, why would I come speak to a group of cowards who can't even face the people who elected them? Why would I speak to a group of people who don't even want to let the voters decide? Why would I come and speak about what I care about to people who show no compassion to a father who spoke about his son being murdered by Atlanta police? But I figured you should know. You should know that history will tell your story, and we will make sure it is told accurately. Your descendants will not know lies about you. They will know what you did in 2023. So I would use the rest of my time to speak to the people behind me and let them know that though I am disabled, we will walk these streets again to make sure you all will not sit in those seats ever again. In the words of Atlanta legend Nene Leakes, we said what we said. Cop City will not be built. I would love to speak to my friend from Grandmothers of Peace who stepped away, but it's important because she said that peace is not the absence of war, but the presence of justice. But this city is at war. The city is at war with its constituents. This council, this body is at war with people who want peace and justice. You're at war with Black people. You're at war with queer people, disabled people like myself. You're at war with immigrants, and we know it. Trust when I tell you, that Cop City will be your legacy. Cop City will be part of your political history, and we, all of us here, will make sure that you will not get to sit and point the fingers at the mayor, at this, at that, and the next, at corporations. You all know what y'all doing. This is not new to you. Y'all true to this, not new to this. Thank you.
Misty Novich.
Somebody left their keys up here.
Sorry, that needs to get addressed. Hey, y'all. Thank you for having me. I want to say, first of all, just acknowledging who voted against this last time, Ms. Waits, Mr. Lewis, Ms. Bakhtiari, and Mr. Dozier. Thank you, guys. Thank you. I just want to make sure everyone remembers that, who voted against this in the past. Thank you. Thank you so much. I think you all know why we're here, why I'm here. I was one of the people canvassing in the 100-degree weather, knocking doors. That was really hard, y'all. And that's not even nearly as hard as what it's like to be in jail, to be arrested, to be oppressed in that way. Not even close. And that's not even as hard as it could be if fascism continues to creep here. I'm really afraid of that. I'm terrified of that. And I'm also a very spiritual person. Don't mind me if I cry. I cry about a lot of things. There's a lot to cry about. And I have the privilege to cry, you know? I feel the weight of the world. I'm an empath, so I can feel that. I think maybe some of y'all relate to that. A lot of y'all in this room, I think behind me as well. So I want to speak to the spirit that is in each of us. I want to speak to God, Goddess, universe, spirits of the ancestors and the future. Call in the spirits of those who have been lost, of those who are suffering right now. My friend Oscar Kane, Johnny Holman, Tortuguita, Philandro Castillo, Breonna Taylor, those who we have recently lost, who continue to be lost, and the spirit of each of you on City Council and each of you in this room. I call on the spirit of justice to keep us safe, keep us strong, to move the hearts of those who need their hearts moved. I still believe y'all can do the right thing. I really do. I know you can. I know you can. I really believe in you. And I pray that that spirit keeps us strong, keeps us going. We are birthing a new world in this moment, this historic moment, and love lives forever in the infinite universe. I call on the spirit to fill our bodies right now. The weight, the strength of the life force. Keep us going. Move who needs to be moved. Thank you.
Susana Ramirez Londano.
Good afternoon. My testimony is dedicated to Tortuguita, Tavish Sutton, and the activists facing RICO charges currently. I am part of the team that helped verify the signatures for Cop City. I stayed up till 3 a.m. verifying these signatures before y'all needed to verify them. So remember my name. And I'm representing District 2, Historic Old Fourth Ward. I do not have the right to vote, so my voice is my ballot. I will be talking today about why I want to stop Cop City. My story does have triggers, so if you are a survivor of racism, patriarchy, sexual assault, suicide, displacement, I do not wish to trigger you. I ask that you please step out of the room if you feel you'll be triggered. On Wednesday, February 22nd of this year, I reported what I suspected to be a human trafficking ring in the city of Atlanta. I spoke to 7 officers of varying races, ages, and ethnicities in my process to report what I had witnessed. The first officer showed little interest to try and help me, even though it was clear I had an urgency. I have been unemployed since then. I was not shocked to find out that many officers I encountered showed little interest. Out of 7 officers total, only 3 showed concern for my well-being or what I had to report. I was ultimately told that because I was reporting a suspected crime, my story would not be investigated, and that because it wasn't a real crime, only a report would be written up. I picked up that report, and it had various mistakes on it. The person that I met that night was Tavish Sutton, who has been missing in the city of Atlanta since 1993. Let me repeat that one more time. Missing in Atlanta since 1993. So when we say stop Cop City, it will be stopped. Whether you're on our side or not, it will be stopped. Because clearly, this system does not work. And y'all know it doesn't work, but y'all are public servants. I understand that. Y'all need a job. Y'all need to pay bills. So do we. So just remember that. And remember Tavish Sutton's name. And remember my name. Because I'll be back here more and more to report on what I survive in this city every day, what these people all survive in this city every day. And it's a shame that you think you can silence us. My voice will not be silenced.
Michelle Sanchez.
Hello, my name is Michelle Sanchez, and I live in District 12. I'm here today. First of all, I hate public speaking, so this is my first time ever speaking to the council, but I felt like I had to come today because the work that so many people have put in trying to stand up for what we believe is right, standing up against what is unjust, can't go unnoticed. And just like this council tried to sweep under the rug the over 40 hours of public comment against what you guys are pushing through regardless, it's insane. I find it incredible that we can find millions of dollars to throw at the police when we can't find enough money to properly pave potholes. Like the potholes that are on Metropolitan right now are worse than the ones that got covered, supposedly. I am the Regional Voter Engagement Manager for Casa Casa in Action. And with a shoestrings budget, we collected over 10,000 signatures of Atlanta voters. And that's not nothing. That's people who we actually had to educate because you guys didn't do that. You guys did not educate the public on what this project was, what it meant. We had to do that. And everybody we spoke to, 95% of them were against this. And now y'all don't want to even like validate the signatures. That's incredible. My daughter, my 19-year-old daughter who passed away a little bit over a month ago, this was the first time she got involved because she cared about this. She also was carrying the weight of the world on her shoulders. She was extremely fearful for climate change because we see every year the effects of climate change getting worse and worse. And the potential worsening of this climate change, if this was to go through, which is not, was something that weighed heavy on her. You guys can put this on the ballot without even validating those signatures. That's what you guys need to do. And whether or not you guys do that, I mean, if you do, then maybe you stand a chance. But as of now, believe me when I tell you that we're ready for 2025. And if we had 116,000 people sign that petition, that's more than the people that voted for the mayor's race. So if I was y'all, I'd be worried. So you have a chance to do the right thing, and I hope that you do. But honestly, I don't have much faith in any of y'all.
Scarlett, Mayorum, were you mentioned, Councilmember Lewis? Okay, you may speak.
Want to make sure I spoke to Metropolitan Parkway. Metropolitan Parkway was the worst road in the state of Georgia. It's a state-owned road. What we've been able to do since I've got elected was to find some funding. In the city, we actually, if you ride down it right now, it's going to be the prettiest road in the state of Georgia. The city, we actually are paving it ourselves, and we sent the receipt to the state. And so they'll be reimbursing us whenever they get to it. But I agree with you, it was the worst road in the state of Georgia, and right now it's going to be a pretty road. So I appreciate you for that.
Scarlett Mayoral Ego.
Hi, my name is Scarlett. I'm from District 5, and I live about 4 miles from Atlanta Police Foundation's proposed armed fortress. I'm representing Working Families Power, and I have collected hundreds of signatures myself, but I've had the great honor of training hundreds of my neighbors to collect signatures, and not just collect signatures, but also talk to their neighbors. I think that's what this body should have been doing, and maybe if the Police Foundation did that, they would have the money that they need for this thing they want so badly. But that would involve meeting people where they are, and that would involve time. It would involve care, things that I don't think the Police Foundation and the department and Georgia State Patrol, et cetera, know much about. So, you guys haven't been in the streets the way that we have, haven't been talking to people the way that we have, but don't worry, I got you. I'll tell you one of the first things that I'm hearing when I'm talking to people, which is, why isn't this petition online? The city you represent is being laughed at, but people are also wisening up. They're realizing we went through COVID and we went through a long period of being able to do things digitally. And we expect that if our city wants to make a good faith effort to engage its citizens, it would have been, we would not be turning in signatures on paper and verifying after the fact. If you can change your voter registration online, why couldn't people have checked their voter registration online and then signified their support for the referendum that way? Just think on that. Everyone knows that if you stood for these basic tenets of democracy, that we would not be turning in signatures again in boxes on sheets of paper and verifying after the fact. We would be doing things as if it was the 21st century, as if it's not the Jim Crow era, and yet here we are. How are we going to lead the nation in public safety if we cannot lead in basic accessibility rights and basic tenets of civic engagement? That's what I would like to know. So everyone here has a chance, one more chance, to put the issue on the ballot. You can stop hiding behind the process, whether that's the process of the court or whoever you're heeding, because at this point, no average person in the city believes this is a process, they believe it's a circus. And everyone here is the clown. Thank you.
Henry Jordan. Henry Jordan.
Give me not the Spirit of God, everyone that's here. Thus said the Lord, the King of Israel, and his redeemed, the Lord of hosts. I am the first, I am the last, and beside me there is no God. Isaiah 44, chapter 6 verse. In verse 6, the prophet emphasizes the oneness of God, stating that beside me there is no God. James Griff, your plan can't save you like Jesus can. Your plan works death, Christ's plan works life. James' actions work against men being Christ-like men and husbands, and if you support these actions, you ask for death. That ye be not slothful, but followers of them who through faith and patience inherit the promises. Hebrews 6, chapter 12, verse. This is the work of God that transformed one from darkness to light, from death to life, from a child of the devil to a son of God. Jesus helped me not be slothful, and you also. Help us be your sons and daughters of God. The wife has no power of her own body but the husband, and likewise also the husband has no power of his own body but the wife. 1 Corinthians 7, chapter 4, verse. James Script, because you did not save your body for me, but gave your body to many women, Jesus said, you cannot marry me. James was called to be a Christ-like man, a husband and father, but rejected his call. For the children of Judah have done evil in my sight, said the Lord. They have set their abominations in the house, which is called by my name, to pollute it. Jeremiah 7, chapter 30th verse. It foreshadows the act of sacrilege. When the Antichrist ends organized religion and demands that he be worshiped, God ordained us to serve him and him only. The commandments say, thou shalt have no other gods before me. If you take credit and pay for what Jesus has done in someone else, then you are making yourself a god. I hear you what you're saying about the Cop City, but the Lord showed me that we need Cop City because it's something that's coming ahead, going to be a problem for the people. And we all need to work together in doing what Christ says to do, because he loves us more than we love ourselves. And we need Christ. If your flesh don't think it's so, but we need him. We need to obey him. We need the power to fight sin in us, around us, and in others. And I thank you. Obey Jesus, Christ-like men and women.
Andy Faber.
Faber. My name is Andromeda Faber, but you can call me Andy. The first time I went to save the forest, I trudged through bramble and trees. My arms ended up covered in scratches from thorns. I got hit in the face by a tree branch because I am clumsy. The second time I went to save the forest, the tree that hit me was gone, bulldozed into oblivion. I walked on dewy grass and pine straw. Twigs snapped beneath my feet. The third time I went to save the forest, the twigs were gone. Heat waves rose from the manufactured wasteland of Georgia clay. It was hot, much hotter than in the shade of the tree that hit me, hotter than dewy grass. The humidity loomed over me like the officer with his long gun on the day I went to an AA meeting when the woods were still intact. I've been sober for a while, but the fear of losing the forest had my head in a spiral, so I went for support. As I sat there among Christians and comrades, protesters and preachers, citizens of this city, the cops ran through, surrounding us and screaming. We tried exercising our right to witness by pulling out our phones, but we were shouted down. It is my right to document, but staring down the barrel of a gun, knowing that one of us, Tortuguita, was already dead, I decided not to take my chances. I cried silently, terrified. What happens after this? Will I be able to breathe fresh air, or will my lungs fill with blood and gravel? What happens after this? Will we ever get the cool shade back in Weelaunee, or will Atlanta's lungs fill with blood and gravel? What happens after this? Will my neighbors ever receive care for their education, addictions, and viruses, or will their lungs fill with blood and gravel? This council has a moral obligation to serve us, the people. Mr. Shipman, the people. We are out of time. Our climate is killing us. It is our duty as stewards of this earth to care for the world that we have been given. We are dying. We do not need more authority. We need actionable care. We need our trees producing oxygen, our children learning about wildlife and running through the fields, and our citizens alive, well, and enjoying the sunshine of the Weelaunee forest. We demand that you take action, Mary Norwood. We demand it for the air in our children's lungs, for the land stolen from the Muskogee people, and for the survival of your Atlanta citizens. Thank you.
Laura Kearns. Laura Kearns.
I grew up off Howe Mill Road near Peachtree Creek. As a child, I had a stable home life. I played in the creek. I jumped across the rocks. I listened to the babbling of the river. I played in the woods. I loved nature. I grew to be very comfortable in nature and not afraid. I'm here today because I've been a member of the Sierra Club, the South River Watershed Alliance, the Chattahoochee Riverkeeper, the People's Coalition to Stop Cop City. I've been canvassing. I stayed up to 4 a.m. last night working to bring the petitions to you today. Instead of writing a check and sending it to the Nature Conservancy or the Sierra Club, instead of attending Sunday galas with others and socializing, I'm marching in the streets. I'm marching in the streets and I'm coming here to talk to you. I'm spending more time in this room than I want to spend. So, one of the earlier speakers said today, I do everything I'm supposed to do. Please tell us what we need to do that we haven't done. We have attended meetings. We've been here for 17 hours. We have emailed you. We have emailed the mayor. We have used social media. We have called. We have attended neighborhood planning units. We have attended rallies. We have stood on the sidewalk in 100-degree temperatures. We have been forced by the police across green space to stand on sidewalks because they tell us we can't stay in stand in the street. We have marched. We have been, as you've heard, we've been in the parks in 100-degree temperatures for hours. We are obtaining signatures of people who are asking you and asking the mayor and asking this government to do something, asking our elected leaders to do something. We are doing everything we're supposed to do. When are you all going to start listening?
Lalita Martin.
Hello. I too have been up here. I've given comments since September 2021 when some of you were still on city council to lease the property to the police foundation. And like others, we are very committed to stopping Cop City, and we hope that you will support this. This is a democratic process. I believe you are all Democrats. And I would like to ask for 3 things. I'd like to ask you to stop obstructing justice. Let us vote, please. I would like you to stop trespassing on Weelaunee. Get the APD, DeKalb PD, GBI, Georgia State Patrol out of our forest. It is ours. It has a right to exist on its own, but we would love to continue to enjoy it. It provides us a lot. If you've gotten to visit, I hope you understand how valuable it is. It is a chance for people to reconnect with nature, and to me, it helps people identify that it is violent to destroy that much of a forest. When you live in an urban environment and you don't get as much access to green space, you might not understand that that is an act of violence. So stop trespassing. 3, stop acting recklessly. You are destroying one of the 4 lungs of Atlanta. We need it, the surrounding residents need it to mitigate flooding, and our future generations need it. And you are also acting recklessly every time you ignore your constituents and continue to put us in danger as we protest. When we show up to peaceful protests, you have sometimes said that you support the right of peaceful protesters. When we show up to peaceful protests, we are met with intimidation from police. And not just intimidation, it is threatening to show up to a peaceful protest and see an AR-15. What is an AR-15 meant for? Have you ever researched it? It is meant to go into your body and destroy your organs so badly you will never reach the hospital to recover. And that is at a peaceful protest. It was at a peaceful protest this past Thursday at the construction site. We saw AR-15s come up. I had a gun pointed at me at a peaceful protest. We continuously said this is a peaceful protest. Stop acting recklessly. Listen to us. You are putting us in danger. You are putting us in danger. I think it is shameful that we have on camera multiple council members refusing to sign this petition. Other people have signed it just because they want us to get a vote. Whether or not you are against it or for it, you have denied, you have refused to sign it. So has Matt Westmoreland, so has Alex Wan, and so has one other person. Give us a vote. Give us a vote. It's very simple. Thank you. Viva, viva Tortuguita.
Thank you. That concludes our public comment. We will move on to our presentation for today, and that is the Solicitor's Office Quarterly Update. Solicitor Carter, welcome.
Okay. Good afternoon, Chairman Hillis, and good afternoon to all members of the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee and other council members that are here. I am Raines Carter, City Solicitor, and as always, it is a pleasure to have an opportunity to present our quarterly report to you. This particular session, we will be focusing upon our safe and secure housing initiative for the city. I want to start off by giving thanks to Mayor Dickens and his administration and to the City Council, and especially to the Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee for making this possible. You all have put us in the position to really get off to a very good start. I'm happy to announce that we have been able to hire all but one position. So all the positions are hired. I want to thank the Department of Human Resources and other people that really worked with us to have this to happen. So with that, I'll start with the introduction. And just to say this, these resources are going to be dedicated to bolstering the city's efforts, the city's litigation and other efforts to address these problem properties that we have. We need safe and secure housing for all of our citizens in the city of Atlanta. Appropriate actions will be accelerated with the additional attorneys and support staff, and performance metrics will be utilized to evaluate effectiveness, and reports will be generated on a monthly basis to the administration and council and all departmental projects. The first person is not with us today. He is already on board working in the office because he is already a city employee. Many of you have worked with him in the past. His name is Jordan Williams. And Mr. Williams has a very critical and important part in this process. He is the project manager, and he's going to work collaboratively with all internal and external stakeholders to achieve the goals. We're going to develop and manage and create pathways and incentives for safe and stable housing that are occupied by our multifamily property dwellings and other types of dwellings in this city. He's going to conduct the legal research and analysis for policy solutions and best practices from other cities, and analyzing the potential positive and negative impact of particular proposals. Jordan has been with the city for over 8 years. Many of you have remembered him being a part of the Department of Planning, and I want to thank Joshua Humphreys and Chanel Ziesel and other people that were with the Housing Division for helping us to put this together. He worked with the Abandoned and Vacant Property Group and the West Side Taft Blight Remediation Project. He received his master's in public administration from Georgia State and his BS in international affairs from Georgia Tech. I'd like to next introduce Ms. Janelle Bowles. Janelle, would you stand briefly just for a second? Thank you. Thank you. Ms. Bowles comes to us with over 27 years of experience as an attorney. She has worked for over 22 years in the area of bankruptcy and property areas. She has served as a staff attorney with the State of Georgia Department of Behavioral Health and Developmental Disabilities, and she has been a senior staff attorney in Fulton County Superior Court. She received her Bachelor's of Business Administration with a concentration from Howard University and her Juris Doctorate from the University of Cincinnati College of Law. I'd next like to have Ms. Naomi Campbell stand. And yes, her name is Naomi Campbell. Thank you, Ms. Campbell. Ms. Campbell is a third-generation Atlantan. She graduated from Howard University Law School. She began her career, however, as an assistant state's attorney in the city of Baltimore. She is now with us and has served as an assistant district attorney in Fulton County. She's been in DeKalb County and Cobb County. She also comes with civil litigation experience. She's been an assistant general counsel for the Federal Aviation Administration. And she wants to continue her career in public service, helping us with the Safe and Secure Housing Initiative. Okay. The next person that I'd like to introduce is Ms. Jennifer Milton. Jennifer, would you stand for a second, please? Thank you. Ms. Milton actually comes to us. She's an assistant attorney general in the state attorney general's office. She's worked specifically with the license division in the state attorney general's office. She has also served as the deputy chief assistant solicitor general for the DeKalb County Solicitor's Office. And she received her undergraduate degree from Valdosta State University. She earned her Juris Doctorate from Faulkner Law School in Montgomery, Alabama, and we're very proud to have her as part of the team. The next person I'd like to introduce is Ms. Genesis Huff. Would you stand, please? Okay, thank you, Genesis. Ms. Huff is coming to us as a senior investigator with the Safe and Secure Housing Division. She has previously worked with Clark Atlanta University, the Public Safety Division. She has worked with Clayton County Public Schools, but more importantly, she has been an agent with ATF, Alcohol, Tobacco, and Firearms, and she is going to help serve as a liaison with some of the things that we want to do with our federal partners. I'm going to talk a little bit about that later. And this is the good part. She was an Atlanta police officer for 10 years, and when she left Atlanta, she had attained the rank of sergeant. So we have someone that can really put some boots on the ground. She has very familiarity with all of the issues that work in our streets. And she also has worked with the U.S. Attorney's Office with programs involving guns and drugs. And so we're very happy to have her to be a part. And I saved for last Mr. Jacob Daughtry. Jacob, would you stand, please? Jacob is coming to us directly from the Fulton County District Attorney's Office. Madam DA has decided to loan him to me. He's going to be a part of our team, and he is going to be a city employee. And as you know, there are so many things that we're going to need to do related to working with our partners in the District Attorney's Office, and also some of the initiatives that we are now undertaking with Solicitor General Keith Gamage. Jacob worked as an accusations attorney with Fulton County for 5 years. He also has years of experience in bankruptcy practice, just like Ms. Bowles, that will help us with some of those technical and difficult issues as we enter into identifying these property owners and the types of things that they do to try to entangle us when we move forward for enforcement. Jacob is graduate of Morehouse College. I won't hold that against him. And just he will be able to do those things that need to do, because he is going to serve as our official liaison with the district attorney's office. We're going to be concentrating in the areas of gangs, which are taking over some of the multifamily dwellings. It's going to be concentrating in the area of drugs, and a concentration in the areas dealing with human trafficking. And guess what we did? Also, we added to the agenda juvenile issues, because those are issues that have been brought to my attention by this committee before. So we're very proud to have Jacob to join us in that area. Just to give you some ideas about what we've been doing, we're off and running. We have one more position to fill, that's the paralegal position. That position will be filled by the end of this week. And we have already done outreach to multifamily properties, and we started it with districts 9, 10, 11, and 12. We sent out numerous non-compliance letters to those districts, but I want you to understand that that's just where we started. We're going to cover every district and every area of the city of Atlanta. With these particular properties that were selected in those 4 districts, we looked at the ones that had the most in terms of potential with underlying issues, things like overdue water bills, significant overdue water bills, of course, code violations, which we deal with every day, and those that deal with high calls of service for violence and nuisance issues. We have directly spoken to almost 50 property owners and managers. That's an approach that we're taking to supplement police and code with law enforcement, because we want those managers and property owners, they have to be involved in addressing these issues. And I mean it in this sense. Those that want to be good citizens and good actors, they need to be given that opportunity. And it helps us narrow down to those that are our bad actors that we're going to have to use our enforcement levers on. So as a result of the letters that have been sent out in these 4 districts, some of the managers have already paid off overdue water bills. They were eager to collaborate with regard to tying into connecting with Connect Atlanta with the VIC. One of the particular properties has actually so far provided some information in terms of some of the video that is being utilized by Atlanta police to solve a horrendous crime that took place. So we just want to let you know that we are working hand in hand with those that want to work on us. We had 3 properties on our August calendar that we're already been engaged in. These calendars have become more aggressive, and you're going to see us working toward putting our best foot forward to do this. So some of the benefits, of course, I just mentioned. Those that want to cooperate, we can. We also want them to gain insight regarding the criminal activities, because some of the owners and the managers, they have the information that we need with regard to criminal activities. One of the things that we found out when we engaged in this, going as far back as July, there are people that are under eviction notices that are still there at the properties because of the things that are going on overall with the eviction process in Georgia, and they're causing these problems. So we're going to start doing a deep dive to try to work together, and that's why we have people that have worked in the other parts of the court system. I believe, Ms. Campbell, you were working directly with the magistrate court, is that correct? That's correct. So we're going to use and leverage these relationships to have an impact to accelerate those things that have been frustrating us. We have an opportunity for responsible property owners and managers to really put their foot forward, because if they really care, they don't want those types of dangerous activities with their properties. And of course, we're going to continue our collaborations with APD, Watershed, and other city departments for a comprehensive, holistic approach to what we're doing. We have been doing joint details with many city agencies. We have also reignited what we used to call years ago our Code Collaborative. We were able to have a meeting a couple of weeks ago in the command staff room over at APD so that we can get other agencies involved and have these hearings and have people involved to help us. And we're going to be reviewing and continuing to investigate data that we receive from the mayor's office, from APD, and from you. Each of you will be receiving a package from us regarding that, because the attorneys and the support staff are going to be assigned to various council districts so that you can put your best foot forward to let us know these problems that you've had historically. You've had properties that have been in the state that they are for years. Now we have an ability to have a team dedicated solely to focusing on those properties and looking at those things that we need to do. We are not abandoning any of our tools. We're going to take those things that we need and those things that have been provided to enhance it. We had an opportunity, and I'm very happy to say that the law department was able to work with us to accommodate a meeting with Councilmember Nailwood and Councilmember Lewis regarding eminent domain. We actually met on August the 8th, and we had 3 takeaways from that meeting. One is recommendations to the legislature, because one of the things that we learned in the meeting is we really want to gear more toward the multifamily dwellings. Councilmember Lewis made that clear. We had commercial things on there. He said, wait a minute, we need to look at this another way. So we're going to keep our word to him to make sure that we gear this toward what we need to really deal with. So we're going to be working with those people that were part of Professor Frank Alexander's group, Ms. Sarah Torn, and others who have worked with the city for years to develop those recommendations. We have received an opinion from the law department, and we have the direction to go. So you'll be seeing a package coming to you regarding the strategy for the use of that. The other thing that came out of that meeting is, and many of you have heard of this before, is about the city taking a look at a blight ordinance, which involves the use of some of the powers of the tax commissioner's office. You have a blight ordinance that is part of Augusta, Richmond County. We have one that's a part of Macon, Bibb County. And then we have another standalone blight ordinance with the city of South Fulton. What we're doing is we have Jordan Williams, our project manager, already working on drafting something for the city to take a look at as to how we can do that in the city of Atlanta, since the city of Atlanta and Fulton County does not have a consolidated government. So we've got to figure out how we do that. And so we are looking at the city of South Fulton's model to see how that works. Jordan Williams will be working with us to make sure that we get our data and our performance metrics in place, not only with regard to code cases, but the total court. We have finished all of our raw data from January to June of 2023, but we need to overlay it for proper analysis. We need to look at not only the efficiencies that need to take place with case preparation in the solicitor's office, but also the efficiencies that would be related to case movement and those types of things. So we're happy to have Jordan to join in that, and we are going to issue an official report not only to the mayor's office, but to each member of council, so that you all can do the deep dive and ask the specific questions that need to be asked with how effective is our enforcement. So these are some things that we really look forward to. Again, we're very happy about our relationships with the Fulton County District Attorney and the Fulton County Solicitor. I want you all to look forward to the information that you'll be receiving regarding all the council districts. And with that, I'll turn now to just our community outreach activities. We are still participating with the Year of the Youth Initiative by the city administration. Deputy Solicitor Andrew Taylor really loves engaging young people. And so we were very happy to work with the Atlanta Police Department with their Teen Citizens Academy summer camp. And we actually had them participate in the court process to see what happens, because it seems to make a difference when young people can actually see what's happening but not standing before a judge. Because if they're standing before a judge, that's a whole different set of circumstances. So we're very happy to be a part of that. Also, we're continuing our community outreach. We're very happy to work with Maximum Impact. I know that you all are very familiar with the things that they do for the back-to-school outreach. We had a special campus event with Georgia Tech. We were able to be a part of their Public Safety Day. And we had a lot of students that are engaged us because they still don't understand not only how strictly criminal laws, but some of our traffic laws really impact them. And we always have to continue to remember to keep an eye on some of the things that are going on with reckless driving and racing. We put them through the testing that they go through for assessment for DUI and that type of thing. So we found them to be very interested and engaging in that. Of course, we were happy to be a part of AFRD's Cascade High 75th year celebration. And we find them, just like APD, to just be wonderful partners to work with us to try to make the city safe for us all. We continue, and we'll continue to be very proud of our food distribution efforts. Councilmember Bond, Councilmember Boone, and others, we can't thank you all enough for allowing us to participate. Because I know you all have a whole lot of other things you can be doing, but you know, feeding people and helping people to make their way is something that we'll all be blessed for, I believe. We have certain community outreach events. Many of you have already participated in our senior citizen public safety events. I think we have one more for this year. I'm gonna have to check with Ms. Carey to find out where that is. And we are definitely love to participate with the health fair at Rodney Cook, the Commission on Aging, and some of the other things. And with our partners, we got one more thing to do, and we're gonna need your help, Councilman Amos. We're trying to get the proper logo for Morris Brown College so that we can make sure we put that on there. We got the AU Consortium logo, but there's got to be the separate one for Morris Brown College. So we need you, we'll be contacting you about that. But these are all our partners, and I appreciate this time to make this presentation, and I am available for your questions.
Thank you, Solicitor Carter. Defer to my colleagues first. If you have questions or comments, please indicate with your speaker button. First up is Councilmember Boone.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Mr. Carter, thank you so much for this very enlightening report. Mr. Carter, is this one of the initiatives that came out from our initial meeting with our district attorney?
Yes, it is.
Thank you so much for this progress. We really appreciate this. And thank you for bringing your team. This is a mammoth task. We have been fighting these owners for several years. And this really seems that it will help us. Mr. Carter, our issue, one of our main issue is trying to reach the owners.
Yes.
We need to figure out a way to bring the owners in. The managers don't seem to have the power to get rid of the mold, get rid of the rodents, make sure that everyone is living in a decent and safe and sanitary apartment complex. We have been burdened with the Fairburn Gordon apartment complexes, the old Central Methodist, those along Fairburn Road, and my seatmate, Councilmember Overstreet, has been really burdened with, as she just sent me a message, she has been very frustrated with 3131 Campbellton Road. It is boarded up. She feels that it should have been demolished by now. So please be in touch with her regarding this. New team, thank you so much for taking this on, but we've got to get to these owners. They resell their property. Once we get someone, but they don't go and do anything to the properties. They put a Band-Aid on it. And the rats, the rodents, the mildew, children and our people should not have to live in those conditions. So again, thank you very much. Again, you all are #1 in community outreach and community service, and to those members of your team that continue to respond to us. Mr. DeLay, Ms. Erica Smith, the entire team that responds to the seniors, we really appreciate the entire solicitor's office. Thank you.
Thank you.
Councilmember Lewis.
So, Solicitor, I want to say thank you as well for the work you've done. With the team your team being so flexible and working with myself and Councilmember Boone, and I remember myself and Councilmember Norwood actually sitting down at a table, taking time, and you brought everybody to that table to make sure we got this done, and to see what came from that is next level. To see you all prioritize and add in the apartment complexes, because I know we were focused a lot on the commercial businesses, but the dangerous dwellings was what we were talking about, complaining about the most. So I want to say thank you for that. I also want to thank you for your leadership on this initiative, with bringing the different departments together, not city departments, but you taking the onus of reaching out to the county and reaching out to the other people who should be involved with this to make sure we get it done. And lastly, I want to let you know about the Roselle fan food giveaway. It takes us about 2 days to actually give out this stuff. We last week, 3 days now, because we actually have stuff that lasts to Monday, where we take it to a new center and give it out. And so we need help. Last week was our first week. Actually, I think we hit our volunteer mode, in which we had 85 volunteers come out. But we are growing. Our food program is growing so much so that we had traffic shut down all the way down to the a mile down Cleveland Avenue. So we would love for you all to tap in and come out and help. I want to thank our clerk's office, Clerk Shay Alexander, for coming out and bringing out 15 folks to actually help us give out this food. But I look forward to working with you at the District 12 bi-weekly food giveaway.
Absolutely. Thank you.
Councilmember Bond.
Thank you, Mr. Chair, and thank you, Mr. Carter, for a very thorough presentation. And just want to say it's great to see the additions to your already competent staff. They're doing an excellent work over there at the courts. I wanted to also chime in on the distressed multifamily properties and echo what my colleagues have said. You know, almost all of the, I won't say all of the poverty, but most of the poverty that's held in Atlanta is in these multifamily facilities. And these owners have literally gotten away year in and year out with treating and handling the least of these of our citizens in a way that is unfair and unjust. And so I'm very eager to see you get at them as much as you possibly can, because these are people who, you know, through no fault of their own, you know, that are seeking a decent life to live, you know, unencumbered, should not have to face the type of circumstances that these owners are providing. And so I wish you Godspeed on that work, and looking forward to hearing the progress at getting at these owners. one of the questions I have for you is, I know there had been some conversation about the way individuals are charged when they have these violations in these multifamily homes. Whether, I know that the solution for someone who's been cited is to sell the property or quit claim the property to someone else. Has there been any conversation about allowing the cases to remain with the property as opposed to the individual or company that might own it?
Absolutely. In fact, one of the things that you will be seeing with the addition of this new team is pulling back those layers that people use to try to escape liability. For example, one of the biggest things that we have in the state of Georgia, and it's nationwide, is the use of the limited liability company. You may notice that every time you look, you'll see LLCs. What we will be focusing upon specifically now, and that's why I think utilizing the city tools, looking at the research we've done with eminent domain, we want to start peeling back those layers, peeling the onion to get to it. We had a case recently with a specific person and a limited liability company, and we were successful in holding that person liable. So they're going to be working with me with the legal theories. We have everybody signed up for LexisNexis research tools, and we are going to go at these bad actors and these properties that have been a pain for each of you for so many years. Their priority is to start with the most difficult and work back. So we have some that have been 3, 4, maybe more years. These resources are going to be dedicated to those properties.
And that is great to hear. And then I guess it's more of a suggestion that I would make is that, you know, people don't come in off the street wanting to lease in a bad place. And so if a owner has a facility that is not up to snuff, and if they've been cited, you know, when they do their first renovation, they get a certificate of occupancy, and then nobody ever looks back at whether or not that certificate of occupancy ought to be challenged or updated. If I would suggest that perhaps that's at some future time that the Bureau of Buildings and your office get together to see if there could be a revision to that process, because it doesn't make sense for people to come to a property that's been cited before or that has problems, and they're able to lease an apartment that's substandard based upon a certificate of occupancy that might be 10, 15, 20 years old. You understand what I'm saying?
I understand you exactly. Mr. Greg Pace and his team, they were part of the Code Collaborative meeting that we had over at APD. Okay. And so we're broadening it not only with the zoning issues. There are zoning issues that are involved. We also added to that process some of the issues that we're having with rooming houses, illegal rooming houses. So we are definitely, that Code Collaborative process is going to involve a lot of different departments. And we've already had our first meeting.
Okay, well, I'm glad to hear that, because these individuals, they shouldn't even be able to lease substandard property. People should not even be able to, they shouldn't be able to profit from that. But I'll close because I don't want to monopolize, but I just want to again thank you for extending your staff, Ms. Carey, and all the individuals and volunteers that you bring to help us with HelloFresh every week. So we deeply appreciate it, and it helps a lot, and your office is well represented.
Thank you.
And it doesn't hurt having a Morehouse man on your staff.
Okay.
Thank you.
Vice Chair Amos.
Yes, sir. Mr. Solicitor, you actually answered a lot of my questions, because I was wondering if all of the work that your team will be doing will actually lead to some better or best practices on how for us not to be in the same situation with future dwellings. And then also, not only that, to identify what we cannot do when it comes to state laws, superseding city law or even county law. So we can be better informed about the steps on how do we get rid of these properties, even if it comes down to COs. But definitely also want to thank you. Your deputy invited me to a court case for a property we have been trying to get rid of on even since Councilmember Bond was over here on Chapel and Boone. And I actually attended the court case, and y'all, it was like a different world. Our judges act a little different when they see a council member in the audience. And the people do too, because they have played the game so long, they know how to play the system. But when your city council member is sitting there, they don't know what role you play in the process. I rode by the property the other day. The fences are up, the dumpsters are out there, but I haven't seen any other work. So let's just stay on that and see, because they play that game as well. They get the permit, sit on it for 60 days, do no work. So we want to make sure that they do that. But that was different, just inviting me to the court case just to see what happened. So there may be some other members want to do when we come to our most egregious. We still got Olive Street Y.
Yes.
That's sitting over there. They're on a deadline as well. So let me know how I can help with that. Thank you.
Well, thank you so much, and you're absolutely right. Your presence does make a difference when you're able to do it. And we are adding that section with our code collaborative when people are supposed to be getting permits to comply. You're absolutely right. We don't want them to play that game, and that's why we have to have our people from buildings, zoning, and all those other areas as part of our collaborative.
Councilmember Boone.
Yes, thank you, Mr. Chair. Team, don't have any mercy on these owners. Don't give them anything. That we get calls 10 to 12 times a week from citizens or more regarding mold, mildew, my water is leaking, rodents, rats, the trash has not been picked up. They throw us off to a lawyer. They throw us off. The managers have absolutely no power at all. We've got to figure out a way to hold these owners accountable no matter where they live. This is a big, big issue in the city of Atlanta because residents feel like the government does not work for them. They should not have to live. And I implore you all to do some tours. Take some tours of these apartment complexes so you can actually see how very bad it is. The conditions are deplorable. Please hold the owners accountable. Thank you.
And I'm not picking on the solicitor's office, I bring this up often with a lot of departments, but I would like to see more metrics in your presentations. Some departments have gotten away from that, but we up here with all of these problems that you've heard almost all of us speak to, would like to see some metrics to show where we're doing good, where we're doing okay, and where we need to do a whole lot better. Number of cases prosecuted, is there backlogs, how long does it take to get a case through the resolution? We see some of that with the municipal courts presentations. Conviction rates, settlement rates, dismissal rates, amount you all are doing NOLOs, finding the court finding the defendant not guilty. We'd just like to see some of the metrics to show what our solicitor's office is doing, and just echo what a lot of my colleagues have shared about the problem properties, the dangerous dwellings. I look forward, I think you said you were going to send us a packet with some updates in that.
That's correct. That's correct.
You know, there's a top dog, so to speak, in District 9 that comes immediately to mind, but it's certainly not the only one. There are many others out and about. Like Councilmember Boone was saying, these get bought and sold, and the new owners come to me, and usually whoever the major is of Zone 1 at the time, and promise us the moon, and then are honestly worse than the owners before them. and we just need to hold them to a much higher account. And I know you are not the only one that should be doing that. Many of these properties receive funds from the state. They receive them from HUD. They need to be doing their job too, but we can't do their job, but we can certainly do our job. And I think I have put a few of these on your radar, but it's not, you've seen the ones on the news where they're apartments that were built 50 plus years ago. They accept vouchers. They're, like I said, HUD properties, but that's not all of them. There are some in my district that are, well, honestly, less than a few years old, but they're a few years, 10 years old that are, some are even fully market rate apartments that have violent problems that need to be addressed. So look forward to receiving that packet.
Absolutely.
And seeing those updates. Any other questions? Councilmember Lewis, you'll see you're here to hit your button again. Go ahead.
I just wanted to put something else on your radar. I'm getting a lot of calls, and I know some of my colleagues are getting these emails as well and calls as well about the renting of houses that you don't own. And so I have been receiving calls from people who said, I've paid rent here for 1 full year. I just got a letter that said I'm illegally paying rent here because the people I've been paying rent to don't own this space. And I don't know how to work this out. And so I want you to put that on your radar and see if you can come up with, is that something that we get involved with, or how do we get involved with it? So I'm looking for some guidance from you all on that.
Okay. We'll prepare some research for you and send that to you, so you all make sure you take that down, because I've heard of a couple of situations where the marshal's office from the county had to come in, and there was one in another jurisdiction where the sheriff did a special type of warrant to get the people out, because what's happening is the people are living there paying rent to a person that doesn't even own a house. And there was a situation that I saw where a young lady had come back from the military and somebody was in her house. So we'll prepare some research. I think we do need to look in that. Yes, sir.
And that's exactly what I'm saying. But how do we also, the person that's been paying rent there, they didn't know.
Right.
So they've been paying rent for a year or two in that space. And so help me with both sides, because it's a real thing going on, especially in the Pittsburgh community in my district.
Okay.
Thank you.
Will do.
All right, Solicitor Carter, thank you for the presentation.
Okay. Thank you all.
Comments and questions.
Okay. I appreciate it.
And thank you to your team as well.
Okay.
Someone leave.
Next up, we're moving on to the agenda now, taking the consent agenda and claims with favorable and unfavorable recommendations. I'll make a motion to accept all favorable claims, items 1 through 5. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Waits is an aye.
Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed.
7 ayes, 0 nays. Those items are favorable. I'll make a motion to adverse all unfavorable claims, items 6 through 71. Is there a second? Second by Vice Chair Amos. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Vote's closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. Those items are adverse. Moving on to our regular agenda. Ordinances for second read, item 23-0-1474.
This is an ordinance by Councilmember Liliana Bakhtiari to amend Chapter 106, Offenses and Miscellaneous Provisions, Article 7, Drug-Free Zones, Division 1, Commercial Zones, Section 106-43A, Designation of Drug-Free Commercial Zones of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, so as to add new drug-free commercial zones as described herein, to waive conflicted ordinances and code sections and for other purposes.
Councilmember Bakhtiari, thank you for joining us.
Yes, thank you. So wanted to speak to this first. I'm going to be motioning to file, but I wanted to give some context. This was initially proposed. We have a situation in East Atlanta right now where we have, it's probably the worst I've seen in 17 years. We have drug dealers that have homes that have smokehouses in the village. They are specifically targeting unsheltered encampments, getting homeless people addicted to drugs, using them to steal, to commit acts of theft, to commit assaults, to traffic drugs themselves. They are targeting unsheltered women. We believe human trafficking is starting with those women. We are also seeing them get into our senior towers and getting seniors addicted, seniors specifically that don't have family or community. And those seniors in turn are spending their money that they would spend on rent on this addiction that has been predatory. And they are getting evicted because of it. It is a massive problem. When I initially introduced this, it was because I was told, it was my understanding that the most I could pursue was banishment from the neighborhood. I did not realize until the Atlantic Civic Circle posted and then fact-checked that it could actually result in 22 years imprisonment. The reason I'm not moving forward with it, because that was never my intention, because when we put things like that blindly on the books, I know that can be used as a way to target people who aren't those dealers. So I want to be careful. So I'm motioning to file for now, but I am not letting up on the dealers in this village and will continue working with neighborhood leadership and first responders, APD, et cetera, in our solicitor's office to continue targeting this. But that is the context I wanted to give. I want to remind the public that I am a human being. I make mistakes. My community has my sincerest apologies, and I'll continue working on this. But yes, I am a person, made a mistake. I thank the public for correcting me, and now I'm motioning to file.
Just a reminder, you're not a member of the committee, so you can't.
Oh, yeah, I'm
motion to
sorry. I'm
file, but you
asking
can
that the
certainly
committee please
request
file.
that we file
Thank
it.
you.
And I will second Councilmember Norwood's motion. Please prepare the vote. Thank you, Councilmember Bakhtiari.
The vote is up. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item will be filed. Moving on to item number.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. Thank you to the committee. Thank you, Councilmember Norwood and Councilmember Amos and the other members for voting. I appreciate it.
Thank you. Item number 2, 23-0-1484.
This is an ordinance by Councilmember Matt Westmoreland to amend Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 10-92B of the City Code, Atlanta Code of Ordinances, so as to provide an exemption from the distance requirements for package stores licensed to sell malt beverages and/or wine by the package listed in Section 10-88.1 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for one package store located at 2455 Piedmont Road, Northeast, Atlanta, Georgia 30324, and for other purposes.
We'll make a motion to approve. Is there a second?
Second, Boone.
Second by Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Item number 3, 23-0-1487.
This is an ordinance by Councilmember Marcy Collier Overstreet to amend Chapter 10, Article 2, Section 10-94A of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances, so as to provide an exemption from the distance requirements applicable to establishments selling alcoholic beverages for consumption on the premises listed in Section 10-88 of the City of Atlanta Code of Ordinances for the John H. White Golf Course owned by City of Atlanta and operated in accordance with an intergovernmental agreement with the Atlanta-Fulton County Recreation Authority and for other purposes.
My understanding that Councilmember Overstreet has requested that we hold this item. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Lewis. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item will remain held or will be held in committee. Moving on to resolutions, 23-R-4126.
It's a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the mayor or his designee on behalf of the Atlanta Police Department, Fulton County, Georgia, City of College Park, City of East Point, City of Roswell, City of Union City, City of Sandy Springs, and the City of South Fulton to apply for and accept a joint 2023 Edward Byrne Memorial Justice Assistant Grant from the U.S. Department of Justice, Bureau of Justice Assistance in the amount of $637,411.00 with no matching funds for the purpose of supporting law enforcement and criminal justice activities and for other purposes.
Motion to approve. Is there a second? Second. Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is favorable. Item number 5 through 8 are settlements, so we'll take those as a block.
Item number 5 is 23R 4127. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of Dr. Cassandra Govin, Equal Opportunity Employment Commission, charge number listed herein in the amount of $105,000 and 0 cents, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 6 is 23R 4128. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against the City of Atlanta in the case of Brock Built Homes, LLC versus City of Atlanta Tree Conservation Commission, civil action listed herein in a total amount of $71,600, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 7 is 23R 4129. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of all claims against defending City of Atlanta in the case of April S. Clark versus City of Atlanta, civil action listed herein in the amount of $27,000 to be charged to and paid from accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes. Item number 8 is 23R 4130. This is a resolution by Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee authorizing the settlement of plaintiff Tyquan Gregory's claim against the City of Atlanta in the case of Felicia Harvey and Tyquan Gregory versus City of Atlanta, civil action listed herein in the amount of $292,500 to be paid from and accounts listed herein, and authorizing the Chief Financial Officer to distribute the settlement amount and for other purposes.
I will make a motion to approve these 4 items. Is there a second? Second by Councilmember Boone. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. Will everyone please vote? The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. Those 4 items are favorable. Colleagues, I believe that completes our legislative agenda.
Mr. Chairman,
Yes,
I
Councilmember
wanted
Wade.
to visit Ordinance 23-0-1402,
What item number is that and what page?
page number 19.
$14.02, right. You'll read that in?
Yes, Mr. Chair, that's item number 21. That's 23-0-1402. This is an ordinance by Councilmember Keisha Shawn Waits to amend Part 3, Code of Ordinances, Land Development Code, Appendix B, Electrical Code Amendments, Chapter 1, Administration, to create a new section 101.10 to require the installation of infrastructure for exterior security cameras in certain buildings throughout the city and for other purposes.
Councilmember Waits, would you like to speak to this? It's been on hold for...
Yes, sir. Thank you so much. I've spent the last few weeks working with the Commercial Board of Realtors as well as the Apartment Association to ensure that the legislation was not financially burdensome. And for that reason, we only made this particular ordinance germane to new construction. I've also spoken with Ms. Robinson from the Law Department, who has some additional recommendations, we believe, to perfect the legislation. And if Ms. Robinson could speak to that, please.
Ms. Robinson, what say you?
Good afternoon, Amber A. Robinson, City of Atlanta Department of Law. The Law Department has no concerns with the legislation. We would only recommend that if this committee were to approve that the legislation, that it be subsequently referred to the CDHS committee. This piece of legislation makes certain amendments to the electrical code and would be enforced and enacted by the Department of City Planning. So that would be the appropriate committee. So that was all a recommendation.
Thank you, Ms. Robinson. Councilmember Waits, would you like to make a motion?
I'd like to make a motion to approve.
All right, I will second your motion. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open.
Is the motion to send it on to CDHS?
That comes with a separate motion. We're just voting to approve it in our committee, and then I will make a separate motion to send it to CDHS.
I had the same question, Mr. Chair. Thank you for the clarity.
Okay, great, thanks.
The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item is approved. I will now make a motion to forward this to the Community Development Human Services Committee. Is there a second?
Second.
Second by Councilmember Norwood. Please prepare the vote.
The vote is open. The vote is closed.
7 yeas, 0 nays. That item will be forwarded to the CDHS committee. All right, now that completes our legislative agenda, I believe. Colleagues, if you have questions, comments, concerns, speak now with your speaker buttons. Councilmember Waite.
Yes, Mr. Chairman. We will have our last and final Public Safety Commission meeting on September 27th, and we would invite the public out to give any comments or suggestions or recommendations. Thank you so much. That will be held at 6 p.m. In the old council chambers.
Thank you. And I will also say before everyone files out, we have provided an update to our Public Safety and Legal Administration Committee's 2023 goals and objectives. I believe those have been sent out to the committee members, Ms. Lindo, or, okay, we have not sent those out yet, but we will send those out. And if you have any questions or feedback, please get those back to us by the next committee meeting. And we will send those out to the departments to get those respective updates if we have not received them yet. Councilmember Lewis, did you have something? Okay. All right. So if no more questions or comments, we will stand adjourned by unanimous consent of members present.